everyone, and welcome back to another fantastically fun episode of the Black Tower Podcast. I am your visible host, Andrew. My co-host is usually
Okay. We started? Did we start? Did we go live yet?
I think so.
Did you hit? Okay. Okay. Do we need? Okay. Go live. I'm ready.
I did.
Go live.
I did. We are.
Good. Okay. We got what? Like 30 seconds?
No. We're actually.
Shit, we're live.
I am action picture of Andrew pulling Josh to recording.
Get over here right now. I'm the sword on my hill. I'm drinking my invisible juice tonight.
Sounds an awful lot like vodka.
What?
I said I know it's not, but it sounds an awful lot like vodka. Like I'm drinking my invisible juice tonight. That's just
there's no vodka. For those of you who don't know, I am participating in Sober September. No alcohol shall pass these lips during the month of September. So far, that's going pretty good.
Is it just alcohol sobriety? Not saying that you do or would do anything else.
It may not be legal. The point of this abstinence is alcohol abstinence. So we will be abstaining from alcohol for the month of September, but when October rolls around, y'all better hide your wives, hide your husbands, because I'm gonna be back on the prowl.
Oh god. Sorry. I'm paying attention to this. So anyway, sorry, you were about to introduce yourself.
I'm Josh. I'm that there Mahale that is in the Sauravons. And that's me. That's me. That's what I do. I call the lightning down upon thine face. Tonight I'm wearing in memoriam the t-shirt of Evermore Park, which will forevermore be known as the park that we bail fired. So let's see. Hold on. Let's just tally this up really quick. We've bail fired a YouTube channel. We've bail fired a park, a theme park. What will they bail fire next?
Are you sure? Like, I don't know if Dr. Livingston is aware of who he's bringing to
bail fire the Citadel.
Bro, like if we go, no, imagine this shit. Like we go, and then like next year the Citadel's like, hey, we're shutting down like on campus class. That would be incredibly bad luck.
We're shutting down the Citadel. We're cutting down the Angel Oak.
I think the Angel Oak's like protected landmark, isn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely. But speaking of Dr. Livingston and the Citadel and the Angel Oak, we only have 2 rooms left at the Airbnb, the Air Bizzle in Bizzle,
the Black
in
Tower
Charleston, South Carolina, for the Gathering Madness. What you need to do is look at the banner below, and you need to visit our website, blacktowerpod.com. And you need to click on the Gathering Madness icon and get all the information for the Gathering Madness. Also, there's something very exciting that just got loaded up, and that is the official itinerary for the Gathering Madness is live. What? Look at you busting out.
Look at that.
Pause to read. That's it, guys. This is it. This is going to be the best damn Gathering Madness to date, which is saying something. I didn't think we were going to top last year. I really didn't. I'm not trying to like toot my own horn or anything, but when we went to Evermore and we were running around playing and having a great time and carousing and acting a fool around dragons and going on RPG side quests and having all kinds of fun there, I didn't think we were going to top it. And then Andrew was like, hold my beer. And here we go. Here we go, baby. Let's go.
Y'all said y'all want to celebrate in Charleston?
Charleston.
We're going to celebrate in Charleston.
We're going to go to Charleston. we're going to go to Charleston.
So it's going to be tons of fun. Again, if you didn't pause in the video or you're not watching the video to see the schedule, just go to our website, blacktowerpod.com, click on the Gathering Madness graphic picture, whatever you want to call it, right there at the top middle, and then you'll see another button where you can click and look at the itinerary. Yeah, you're clicking like 3 things to get to the page, but that means that the main page isn't cluttered the heck up, which is good. So I hear. Josh is putting in a lot of work trying to make sure the website is updated and is
I
accurate.
also want it to be easy, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't want the website to be hard. Like I have received the critique that the website's kind of basic and kind of simple. And okay, first off, I'm not a graphic designer. First, I'm not a graphic designer, right? So I'm just I'm a hobbyist.
The spotlight of Raw is on your face.
Secondly, I want it to be easy. I want it to be basic. This doesn't need to be fucking, missed. It doesn't need to be a mystery every time you guys want to get some information about something that's happening at the Black Tower. So that's it. That's what I got.
I mean, there's definitely probably things that could be done or whatever. I mean, it's been
it's never going to be perfect
for the past
right?
couple years, but I mean,
yeah,
Josh has made it with his heart and soul and Sailor Jerry.
That's true too.
Yeah. So it's great. We are working on a couple different things. Don't know if we'll have any of it ready to show or anything. The Gathering Madness or anytime soon, but we are working on getting some things updated and done and moving and ready to go. But right now, Gathering Madness is the focus. 2 rooms left, and if those rooms get filled, then we'll have to look at either potentially seeing if folks want to share some of the rooms with bunk beds, and if that nightmare of logistics is able to be worked out, or see if there's anything else we can do so that other folks can come and enjoy. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Indeed we will. Indeed we will. In other news, aside from the Gathering Madness, what else was there? I feel like there was something else that we needed to throw out.
Well, it's not one of our things necessarily, but there is that Citadel auction on September 26th.
That's also true.
So I have poured through the pictures over and over again, hoping to see a picture of like the fires of heaven. And I did not see one.
Oh! Well, you just reminded me what we needed to do and offered the perfect segue into the next thing. We are hosting the Wheel of Time reread, and we are in book 5, Fires of Heaven. Remember to read the Fires of Heaven for the month of September. And yeah, it's going to be great. So far, it's been really Aiel heavy. Like, we're, Rand has left the Stone of Tyr, and he went into the Waste because he's super obsessed with, I got to do what nobody expects me to do. And he ran into the Waste. He did his little trip through Rhuidean. He's done his speech at Al-Khair Dal. And now they're hanging out in Rhuidean again, waiting for all the clans to assemble so that Rand can go across the wall with all the clans. And it's really cool. It is very Aiel heavy in the beginning. And there's a couple of nuggets I love that we get, things like rules for linking. Mm. That knowledge is just kind of sprinkled in there, as Rand is learning about the One Power. And it's really, really cool. But for tonight's sake, for the sake of tonight's conversation, we are talking about Rhuidean, the sacred city in the Waste, the only city in the Waste. There are no cities in the Waste. They sure as hell aren't any stone buildings in the Waste. Like, they didn't build things in the Waste. They carved out caves. They lived like, was it the Anasazi? I mean, they lived like the Native Americans. So they live in harmony with the land, that kind of thing. And in the middle of the waste, there's this city, Rhuidean, just this big old city. And the first time we see it, it doesn't look like a city. The first time we see it, it looks like a wall of fog, like a big ass cloud hanging out on the ground in the waste.
Do we want a spoiler warning this?
Oh yeah, we should do that.
We're gonna go.
Thanks for stopping me before I spoiled anything, Andrew. Appreciate
you're welcome.
you.
We see Rhuidean and it's cloudy and spoiler warning brought to you by Norm.
Hello, I'm Tam Sorrell Norm. You may remember me from the Dusty Wheel or the Black Tower podcast. I'm here to give you a public service announcement about spoilers, as this episode may contain some. As if you didn't already know that, like watching the film Titanic and being surprised that the boat sinks at the end of the movie. Hello, moron. The movie is called Titanic. Of course the boat fracking sinks. This show is called the Black Tower Podcast, as in from the Wheel of Time. And these three guys are Ashaman. Well, at least two of them. I don't know about that. Anyway, you have been warned.
I just showed up one day and never went away, and everybody was like, "He belongs here, right?" Yeah, he's been here forever.
Just like crabs.
Just like him.
Yeah.
Just
Anyway,
like him.
you were telling us about the cloudy city of Rhuidean, which is exactly
the castle
what a
in the
filthy
clouds that
outsider like
Cosette-
yourself would see.
Yeah, you're not allowed to. But we're talking about the castle in the clouds that Cosette sings about. And there's only two kinds of people allowed to go into Rhuidean. And those are men who wish to become clan chiefs.
That the wise ones approve.
Yeah, they get permission from the wise ones. The wise ones approve and say, yes, you may go for the honor of your clan and become a clan chief. And not all the men who go in survive. Some of them die. It's not a great thing.
Some of you may die with the sacrifice.
They must go disarmed. They must not take any weapons with them. And I gotta say, I love this scene in the books. Well, you know what? We'll get there here in just a minute. Because the only other person that gets to go in, the only other kind of person that gets to go in, are women seeking to become wise ones. They must go in, but there's two different tasks that they have to fulfill, right? Men go in, they go to the heart of the city, they see the glass columns, they go into the glass columns, they do their business there, they come out, and they go, yeah, I'm a clan chief, unless they die, and then they just die. Women go through, and that's the only time men are allowed to go. They only get to go once, period, end of story. Women go twice. The first time they go through the 3 rings, right? There's a 3-ring terangrial that Egwene suspects is much like.
Columns.
Huh?
It's just the crystal columns.
I thought there were 2 different. I thought they went through a 3 rings and a crystal columns.
I thought it was just the.
Oh, we're about to find out. Well, because the thing is when Avienda goes, she does not go to the crystal columns on the first time. She goes on the second time, and when she goes that first time, Egwene is like, "Oh, that sounds like the novice testing or the accepted test." And she's like, "I wonder if that's the same one that they use in the accepted test." And because and even the wise ones give her the prompt that you're going to face your greatest fears. And Egwene was like, "Oh, snap. They've got that here, too." And she gets all sad, like, what would Avienda be afraid of? She's the bravest person I've ever met. So yeah. But anyway, regardless, those are the two groups of people that go to Rhuidean. Everyone else is forbidden to enter. If anybody else even gets close enough to see Rhuidean, they're you generally like executed, either executed or given the waste execution, which is to leave them without any supplies and nothing but a single water skin to make it back to the spine of the world, which isn't very helpful. That is until Rand shows up. And he comes up and he's like, "Sup? I'm your boy. I'm your Huckleberry. You've been waiting for me. And I'm going to go in." And the wise ones are all just like, what? Okay. You're the guy, huh? Okay. Thought you'd be taller. They tell him he can go.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I just got it. So there are 3 rings. And the rings are the first one that wise one apprentices go through.
Right.
So much like the Aes Sedai, like you were saying. But later on, when Avienda goes back, much later in the series, she doesn't go through the rings, she goes through the glass columns.
Right. And then she goes through the glass columns a second time. And it's like, and that's when she starts seeing like earth-shattering shit. But that's where I was going to go with that. Rand shows.
No, she doesn't go through them a second time. It's her second visit to Rhuidean. She only goes through the glass columns once.
I thought she went through a second time, because didn't she like come out and get all like, "Oh, I've got a talent for Terangreal. I wonder if I could touch it," and she gets like pulled in a second time.
Mm-mm.
That's going to be months from now in our reread.
Yeah, no. The first time she goes into Rhuidean, she goes through the 3 rings.
Right.
She pauses, I think, outside of Rhuidean, not because she's been into it, but because she's almost there, and it's like now nighttime or something. Because that's the thing. That's where the twice comes into. Because wise one apprentices go in, and then after you're a wise one, then actually I don't think they have a standard of wise ones going back into Rhuidean to go through the columns. I think I forgot what basically gets Avienda to go through.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure Avienda goes through twice, because when she comes back out, she tells the wise ones, and she's like, "Okay, guys, I made a mistake. I didn't mean to. It was a total accident. I'm really sorry. However, you guys need to know this." And they elected to send another wise one back to Rhuidean to go through the glass columns again to verify that that's what is happening. Is that not the case? I'm going to pull it up too. Hold on. Anyway, one of my favorite scenes with this is when they come up. So Rand transports everybody by way of Portal Stone, brings them up to the little hill outside Rhuidean, and he's like, "Okay, cool. You knew I was coming because the wise ones are wise, and this is how this is going down." And then Matt's like, "Hey, I've got to go too. What's up, two geeks?" Matt says, "Hey, I've got to go in there too. I don't want to, but I have to." And they're like, "All right, cool. I guess you can go, but you can't take any weapons." And Matt has this like moment where he's like, oh, and then this knife, oh, and then this knife, oh, and then this knife, and then this knife, and then this knife.
Oh, okay.
And
So
when he's got this big pile of weapons in front of him, and then he like, oh shoot, hold on, and I forgot about these two knives. Throws them on top of the pile, and it's like the IEL were like, huh, nice.
So you're right. She goes to the pillars twice. You're right. So she
Okay.
goes in and sees like the history. Comes
Right.
out is contemplating like the future of the IL. Has a nice bowl of soup with a friend, and then
Yeah.
she goes back to the pillars, but she's not like going there with the intent to walk through them or anything. She's curious to see if she can figure out how they work. And
Right.
she comments about like whenever she touched the pillars, she wasn't sure if she was touching the pillars or if they were touching her. And she commented on how the pillars seemed to be aware. And there's a theory that her being there and doing what she did, trying to like, understand the pillars and kind of probe at them a little bit and figure them out, might have forever changed the purpose of the pillars and flipped them from showing the history to
Oh,
showing the future.
no kidding. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And I don't think we get an account of anyone that they send through the first time as a wise one after that either.
No, there was
So,
I saw a mention when I was looking at this one.
well, so you got Rand and Matt who take
There was
off.
somebody hoping they get a POV, not them talking about an actual POV.
They head down to Rhuidean, and really what it is it looks, they have no idea what it is. They have no idea what they're approaching. It looks like a giant wall of fog, a giant cloud. They can't see it. They don't know what's going on. They're just like, cool, this is a wall of fog that we're running towards. It takes them quite a while to get there because by the time they get there, their water's out, their lips are chapped, they're hot, and what is it? Rand gets there and they're at the wall of mist and they're talking, and Rand is like, Matt, are you sure you want to do this? And Matt's like, look, according to the crazy foxy people, I have to do this. Or I'm sorry, according to the snaky people, I have to do this. Then they go through this wall of mist and come into a city. A stone-hewn, stone building, stone roads, paths, fountains, city, like a big city. And in the middle of the city is a giant Avendosora tree.
It is also like a big ass fountain too.
There's a big ass fountain. Rand uses the power to pull up some water so that they can get some water and cool off a little bit.
It turns out there was like a massive freaking aquifer beneath Rhuidean, which I wonder if that's why like the Aes Sedai were like, build here.
Oh, that could be. That could be because later on.
Well, because we learned from Egwene's time with the Seanchan that they will frequently use Damane that show a talent for like any kind of like earth or whatever to like delve the earth for like precious ores and deposits like that and water if they need it out on land. When they could just use dowsing rods. They don't have to go through all that. You don't have to like capture and enslave somebody. You can just dowsing rods and you're fine.
Or go into Teleranrion and need need is the key.
I wonder if you went into Teleron Riyadh and were like trying to travel into an aquifer, could you go like actually under, like through the ground into the aquifer? Like, is it like the Matrix? Like the ground is only as solid as you believe it is?
Oh,
Because if Teleron Riyadh is where all realities semi converge, then there's definitely a reality out there where the area you're trying to go to has already been like excavated or something. Probably. I don't know. Random thought.
yeah, that's
Teleron Riyadh
interesting.
is just the analog Matrix.
The analog matrix. I love it.
Yeah.
Um,
Lanfear's Agent Smith.
yeah. So, this is the other significant thing about Rhuidean. You have a gigantic pile, just piled up in the center of the city of Angreal, Sangreal, and Tirangreal. Mostly Tirangreal, though, if I'm not mistaken. And it's just piled up right in the middle of the city square. Like literally, someone pulled up into your downtown whatever city you live in, took their truck, unloaded all the furniture that was loaded in the back of their truck, and then drove off. Because I don't think it talks about them finding any wagons, right? It's literally
Don't
just
talk
a
about any
pile.
what?
Wagons,
No.
because the Tinkers took those.
Or I mean, they would have long since like rotted away by now. I mean, it's been three
I mean,
thousand years.
that could also be.
I would think.
That
I mean,
could also be.
like as far as like specifically mentioned Angreal, there's only, if you include the glass columns, the three rings, and the access keys, there's only one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, uh,
The
well,
door.
eight specific Angreal that are mentioned. The one you don't know is an Angreal, or potentially an Angreal at the time. I'll
Yeah.
say 7.5, because you get the two access keys, um, which is also very interesting because the access keys were lost when the Shadow took over the city that they were in, but then you find the access keys here.
Well, keep in mind, after Luz Theron sealed the bore, it did start the breaking, but the War of the Shadow ended.
Yeah, but I wonder if
So
anybody that knew where they were even survived.
even that's true too. Like maybe you've got because you've got men who were Dark Friends in the War of the Power who went mad and contributed to the breaking. Only the Forsaken, so far as we know, were the ones that were shielded from the Dark One's taint. So you've got people who went mad and started destruction of the world. Would they even know what the access keys look like? Because from what we understand from, just reading into it, we don't know that they knew they even had the access keys or even what they were. So to them, it's very well could have been something that sat in that city and was eventually gathered by Aes Sedai and kind of thrown into the pile with the rest of the Terangreal and Sangreal and Angreal. That was looted and robbed over the years, as we find out through Rand's trips through the glass columns in Rhuidean.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to look real quick and see if like there's anything real quick about the um about them being moved. I mean, it is absolutely possible that somebody was like, you know, yeah, I know these things are there, or you know where they were lost, and was like, let's go get them while we can. But I mean, it's entirely possible. I don't know, because there's what a total of three that were found, three access keys.
Yeah, I think one of them gets destroyed.
Yeah, well, one that they find is already half destroyed in the Panarch's palace in Tanchico, the half broken female access key.
Right.
And then the one that Nynaeve was using when they did the cleansing of Sidene was destroyed in that effort. And then Cat Swain took the male one from Rand until um until he banished her, had her room searched, and then took it back. Which was the same Choden call or the same Choden call access key that he fought over with Asmodean and Rhuidean. Excuse me. Of course, I closed the one page that I was looking at because I'm a genius.
You're a genius.
I'm a genius. There it is. Access keys. Three access keys have been found. Two by Rand and Rhuidean, and one alone. There's a possibility that more may exist. The one that was found alone was in reference to Shadow Rising, and then the Gathering Storm. That doesn't tell me what I was looking for. So Rand and Asmodean
Where were they
fought over the
found?
male
In
access key.
the Gathering Storm.
Yeah.
Not what I need
Okay.
answered.
So they fought over the male access key. Lanfear showed up looking for the female access key, but figured it was like either not there or has been destroyed. Rand does find it and it's intact. And that's the one that's destroyed during the cleansing of Sidene. And then there's the damaged version that was found um, in the Panarch's palace and is incredibly dangerous because it hurt Egwene even when she touched it in Tel'aran'rhiod.
Yeah.
So those are the only three. Because after the cleansing of Sidene, not only is the female access the last intact female access key destroyed, the female Choden call is destroyed as well.
Yeah. At the cleansing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then whenever Rand goes from Darth Rand to Bodhisattva Rand, he destroys the remaining male or the only male access key and the male Choden call.
At the top of Dragon Mount, right.
By deciding if I can't destroy myself, I'll destroy the weapon with which you could destroy yourself.
Yeah.
But besides those, there's the redstone doorway that Matt finds and goes through because he's like, I could stand here and just watch Rand stare at a fucking crystal pole, or I could go make these assholes answer questions. What's the worst that could happen?
What's the worst that could happen?
And it turns out, and this is where I was saying, I don't know if it's really classified as an Angreal or not. I don't remember if it was officially or not. The Ashandare that he gets.
We need to do an episode and break down the Ashandare because that's got some real good questions that we can delve into on that one.
Yeah. So right now, I'll give it a half because we haven't decided if it is or isn't. I'm sure somebody out there has, but we haven't, so it doesn't count.
Yeah, that's right. We're the end all be all.
They also there's one described during the fight between Rand and Asmodean, and it seemed like it was described like it would be important later. It's a crystal statue of a nude woman holding a child against her chest.
Right.
It's like fallen on its side and is like wrestled unbroken near the redstone door frame that Matt went through. And it's just described while Rand and Asmodean are like rolling around on the floor like two twin brothers fighting over like a toy. The most powerful toy in the world.
The greatest toy, the best toy, the toy that everybody wants to play with.
So they were
Amazing.
banging against the redstone door frame, then against the fallen statue. So it's got to be like relatively big for them to bang against.
Oh yeah, it does, doesn't it?
But and then the only other one that's really described in Fires of Heaven is the red crystal chair that is noted. It's already listed as a Terangrial, but nobody knows. And the same with the statue, nobody knows what its purpose is. If I had to wager a guess at what the chair is for, I am going with binding chair.
Look, there's another red Tirangrial that we run into that has a particular function.
Oh, do you think the red crystal chair has like a hole in the seat
Tied to
and
the
they
red rod,
attach?
yeah.
Yeah.
There was some
So
freaks up
whenever
in
you
Age of
put them
Legends.
together, like straps come out to hold you onto the chair.
By your powers combined.
We are kink chair.
Kink chair, Tirangrial. I mean, why not?
I just imagine like RJ's just trying to figure out like a way to like describe new Terangrial, and he like comes across like a mailed pamphlet from like Adam and Eve or something.
That would
Or
be.
he watches what was the
Totally
James
a
Bond
move.
movie where they torture, I think it's Pierce Brosnan and James Bond, where they the villain tortures him by like setting him in a chair where his berries hang under the chair,
Oh no,
like through a hole.
that was Daniel Craig.
Oh
That was
yeah,
Daniel
no, oh yeah,
Craig.
because I liked that
And-
scene because I was like, yeah, you actually deserve for that to happen because I don't like you.
Mads Mikkelsen is the one who did it, and I have a ginormous crush on Mads Mikkelsen because that is one gorgeous man who I would call daddy. All
He seemed like he played a good villain. I haven't watched any James Bond movies
Dude,
since Pierce Brosnan.
you got to see Hannibal. He is scary in Hannibal.
I feel like I've seen Hannibal.
Scary.
Yeah.
No, but this becomes like a severely impactful moment in the story because you've got, oh god, like the significance of these interactions is immeasurable because they are things that have main story impact on the story going forward. Matt's trip into the doorway, the twisted doorway, is legend. They would not have won the last battle without that. Period. End of story. Rand's visit through the glass columns, becoming Kar Karn, really great. But he finds the access keys, which eventually cleanse Sidene. And once again, now men are free to, live and channel without going insane, or without fear of being hunted down by the Red Aja. Like there are significant items and significant seeds planted in the storyline that is the soil of Rhuidean. That is, oh God, Robert Jordan does such an amazing job with this, giving you just this casual little, oh yeah, so we found this and it's a really powerful thing. Like it's really cool. And you go, okay, cool. Big power go boom. Yay, we're going to use that later and it's going to be awesome. But you don't realize how significant that is. Matt and his journey through the door coming out with a spear and memories that aren't his, and you're going, what the hell, man? And you don't realize how big a piece those things play later on in the story. And it's so Rhuidean is sort of a like a fulcrum event in the books. I feel like we talk a lot about how, you know, there's could things have still happened if this didn't happen? Could things have happened if this person had not been there? But I really think it's significant to say, I really think it's fair to say that there's nothing they would not have won. They would have had no chance to win had the events of Rhuidean not happened the way they happened.
So I just had a thought about the three rings. Whenever a wise one apprentices go through the rings, when they come out, they don't normally remember what happened until it becomes important for them. Do you think that's because these rings are fundamentally different from the arches? Or do you think maybe it could be something to do with how like the rings are set up to auto activate and they're not like kind of guided or activated manually by people, so they're not
Well,
quite as strong in their activation?
that's what tells us that they're a different item, right? Because the arches in the White Tower are stone arches, unless activated by flows of spirit, right? To our knowledge, at least as far as I know, there is no channeling requirement to activate the rings in Rhuidean. So my belief is that it's something that it's the same function, but maybe it's a different model. And it was probably made on site. I don't know. That's a good question, though. There's got to be some differences there. Because it is obviously a very different Tirangrial. And when Avienda comes out of the three rings, she is very, very angry with Rand. She is not happy with him one bit.
Reading through stuff.
I wonder. I don't know. It's got to be different. It's got to be different.
I think they're different, but like in the same way that like we or I or whatever, if you want to hop in on the insanity as well, theorize that skimming and the ways are related. Like they share some degree of overlapping space, though they're different entities. Because the silver arches that you use to test for accepted, they make you face your greatest fears from the past, the present, and then the future.
Right.
So there's some amalgamation of them accessing potential futures. Because the three rings in Rhuidean, they show you like countless possibilities of your future. And that's why
Well,
part of the reason why you don't remember any except for the most important when you come out, because it'd be like trying to remember like an infinite number of flicker scenes for
right.
your life.
Right. And they talk a couple of different times about how you remember the things you need to remember. Some things you come out remembering, some things you come out you just never remember again. Some things you need to know in the moment that you need to know them. And it's just like an interesting variation there. But yeah, no, you're right. What if the ones in Rhuidean are the same, but they are a more complete version? Like, you know what I'm saying?
I mean,
What if the three
yeah, no,
rings is what the arches are supposed to be?
yeah, I mean, because the way they're physically described sounds more like a complete structure. It being three
Yeah,
rings in a circle connected at the middle. And if you kind of look at some of the artistic interpretations of the three arches, they're kind of similar, but they're connected at the bottom, like where the arches like would touch each other at the ground. Um, Now, of course, that's like artistic interpretation. It's not. Oh no, I mean it does say three connected arches, and that seems to
yeah,
be like the most logical way for them to be connected. So that's where there's some similarities. They're three objects in a circle connected, but does
the other thing
Avienda
is,
have to? The Avienda doesn't have to walk through all three of them to get different perspectives, does she?
I don't know.
Or does she just walk into one and is like, "Yeah, that's it, I'm done"?
And then it's boom. You know, that's a really great question. The other thing is the three rings um, in the tower are, inside. They're down deep in the basement, and I think they even talk about they tried to move them at one point in time, but they couldn't figure out how to do it, so they just left them there. Um, does the one in Rhuidean have the same issue? Does it have the same thing? Do you just have to leave it there? Like,
I
does it
don't know.
say three rings in the description for the Rhuidean Terangriel?
Yeah, Parangral is made up of three gray metal rings that stand vertically in a circle and are joined at the middle.
Huh. I
Trying to.
thought you had said that about the White Tower one. Sorry.
No,
That
that's the
is.
silver arches. But I'm saying like that's a similarity that they both stand in a circle and are connected to each other. Like the three objects in the circle are connected.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if I can find more about.
So, okay, well, key differences in function. We believe Avienda just goes through the rings once, right? Gets to see all of creation and comes out, all enlightened and whatnot, mad at Rand, and leaves, doesn't go through the glass columns until she needs to go back. Then Moraine follows right after Avienda, also goes through the rings. So Moraine is the only one in the story that's been through both of them.
Mm-hmm. That we know, yeah, that we know of it.
That we know of. But that's interesting. Like that's kind of an interesting. Moraine is. Oh gosh, really, Moraine is the one who is best suited to advising Rand. I mean, she's the one that's got all the context and the history and the all of that stuff, and given the fact that she's, got all the knowledge of human beings summed up in her brain, along with the rest of the wise ones.
Mm.
She's a formidable force.
I was trying to find. I'd probably just have to go back and actually read the passages to find out how they described it. But I think
Yeah.
they just because we don't know because we don't get the firsthand account of Avienda going through the ring.
No. She runs down.
Um,
Matt and Rand see her running past them naked.
Yeah.
And she comes out before them or after. I think she comes out after them. I just read it, so I should know. I think she comes out after them.
Mm.
Yeah, that's right. Because they were like, when they come out, when Rand and Matt come out, they're like, "Hey, did you happen to see Avienda? She went in right after you." And they were like, "Nope." And then Matt's like, "Ha, I told you I saw her naked."
No. Yeah.
So,
But I mean, like, or did she have to? Because she's told, or she remembers 3 important memories at when they're important. Later on in the story. So is it like you go through each ring, and each one will have like at least like one important memory that will play a key role in your future?
could be.
Because she gets told that she'll fall in love with Rand, or she remembers that memory. Then she remembers whenever the cleansing is going on that if they go to Shadar Logoth, I think. I'm pulling it back up. I think it's like if her and Elaine go to if they go to Shadar Logoth in Book 9, something terrible would happen to either them or Rand. So they ignore the event and don't go. And then the third one is that like she would wind up becoming a very powerful wise one. Which, I mean, is cool, but I mean, one's like, hey, this is gonna be your baby daddy husband. Oh, hey, you're gonna be at this thing. You're gonna find like there's a lot of channeling going on. Uh, just fucking go the other way. Pretend it's not there. Close your eyes. And then the last one's like,
stick your hands in your ears. La, 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 la,
yeah.
la.
And then like the other memory is like, you're gonna be really good at your job.
It's perfect. I love it.
Like there's two pieces of advice that feel like they're from a Cosmo like tabloid, and the other one that's like the fucking dire warning that saves like your life potentially.
Love it. I love it so much.
Like two truths and a horrifying reality and a horrifying warning.
It's perfect.
Here's the guy you're gonna fall in love with. It's gonna happen. Also, you're gonna be fucking great at your job. Oh, and don't go over
However,
here or you'll all fucking die.
seems simple enough, okay? Just don't go over there. Just don't do it. At least she was smart enough to not.
I mean, when the 3 rings speak, you listen.
When the 3 rings speak. That's right.
Did you talk about what happened as we start winding things up here to the barrier / shield around Rhuidean?
Nope, we haven't had a chance to get to that yet.
Oh shit, we're just bouncing all over the place then.
We are. We're having a great time with it.
So as we mentioned earlier, well, go ahead because I've been talking.
No, you're good. Rand and Asmodean get into a fight. They start running around, blasting each other with the power. And Asmodean is looking for the access key. And they end up in this like really battle of wills where they're both holding on to the access key. And finally, Rand pulls out the little Angreal that he's got, gets the edge on Asmodean, cuts him off from the Dark One's protection, blah, blah, blah. Well, as they come out of this battle and they're hanging out in Rhuidean, I don't exactly understand how and or why. Like, I feel like the stray channeling hit the barrier and dissipated whatever the weaves were on it. Is that your understanding as well? The other significant event here is that the aquifer that we mentioned that had that big fountain is up, is they did something where the water is now coming up. It is coming up out of the ground and running off into a little depression outside the city where it will eventually become like a lake, like a big lake. Rand says that he can see, farming land popping up. He doesn't ever suggest, I don't think they ever suggest as to whether or not it's actual revelation or if it's just like him being like, hey, with some water, now we can have some farms. But the point stands.
Basically, all that's really said is that it was destroyed by the immense power Rand and Asmodean channeled through the male half of the Choden Call during their fight. Destroyed so well, not enough trace left to even tell what kind of shield it was. The power ruined the buildings of the city as well as its environment, lowering the peak of Sheondare and some other mountains around the valley, badly charred the Avendasora tree, created a great rift in the earth, which caused the underground lake to flow to the surface. And then that's when Rand channeled the fountains of Rhuidean to once again flow. And it was like,
right.
Hey, Aiel, look at your holy city that I have pretty much leveled. This is your home. You're going to live here now. Don't worry. In the future, we'll call in the Ogier to help rebuild. Yeah. But, I mean, so something about the barrier made channeling inside of Rhuidean inherently difficult. So I'm wondering if it was like one of those things where, have you seen the movie about like Deepwater Horizon?
I don't think so.
With fucking Mark Wahlberg.
No, I haven't seen that one.
Damn it!
So
I
there
want
goes
to. That idea. I'm trying to think of like a good example to use. Like basically, like if you had a ton of pressure in a hose, and you had it pinched down to like a pinprick, and then eventually there was just so much pressure behind it that it caused the dampener to like break and explode.
Right.
Just by the sheer force of what's being tried to be pushed through the small opening. I wonder if that's mainly what happened to the shield. It was like because they were pulling so much power through something that was designed to weaken how much you could use, that it just kind of overloaded the hindering effects of the shield, and the shield just kind of short circuited and was like,
whatever the
this job, I'm
dampening
out.
field or something. Yeah.
Yeah,
I can see that.
Now, why was it foggy? The fuck if I know.
That was just that. I think that was just the
all the
easiest
water
way to
was
shroud
underground,
the city.
and all the water was underground and created a just the perfect disparity in temperature around the city, and it just happened to cling to the shield. I don't know.
That, yeah, that's. I think that's just the easiest way to shroud it. They wanted it to be a mystery. They didn't want people to know, they didn't want the Aiel knowing anything about it in advance.
Oh yeah. And if you're hiding a big ass pile of Angreal, you probably do. Yeah, you probably don't want people to be able to see it because they
That's
really
right.
did just leave it all in the fucking middle of the courtyard
On the
by
ground.
Vendus Oratory.
They threw it on the ground.
That's their ultimate sin. That's the real sin they're paying for. They were charged with
That's it right
protecting the Angreal, and they just dumped the cart.
Yeah.
And we're like, fuck this, it's not worth it anymore.
Craziness. Craziness. Anyway, we could talk about Rhuidean all night because Rhuidean's just a fascinating place. It's a great bit of story, and I love it. It's awesome. One of my favorite places in the Wheel of Time, actually. So there's that. What about your final thoughts when it comes to Rhuidean? Sorry, I know that was kind of concise, but it's true. I'm just kind of there.
I mean, I think it's a cool function. I like how, unlike some other things that may pop up here and there, Rhuidean gets revisited.
Yes,
And
true.
it serves a purpose like every time because though I wish don't we find out that like some of what Moraine knows before she goes into like the redstone after she tackles
Mirren.
land Landfear, doesn't part of what she remember come from the
Yes, she
that?
gives a letter to Tom and a letter to Matt, I believe, where she's basically like, "Hey, I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I know if this happens, I'm not coming back. And if this happens, I'm not coming back, but I'm still alive." So, oh no, that's what it was. Moraine gave a letter to Tom and told Tom not to show it to anybody until they ask. And that's how he would know that it was time to rescue her. Is that when someone asked to see the letter or something like that. Very cryptic, very mystery. Wow.
Oh, so apparently part of what she learns there is the only possible way to defeat Landfear. Okay, and nobody else is like, it was this, it was that.
Yeah. I think a lot of this is theory, which is one of the reasons we love these stories.
Yeah, because this is the same thread where they're like, oh, yeah, and I think Moraine pulled her into the redstone doorway as a fluke. She just happened to be there and get caught. And I'm like, no. But Rhuidean's cool. I think it's cool. It's cool that it actually kind of becomes a city because it was supposed to be a city for the Jin Aiel and the surviving Aes Sedai from the breaking. And now it looks like it might actually get to serve that purpose going into the Fourth Age. I mean, when the rest of the world has happened to be largely rebuilt because of death and destruction, why not add one more city to it?
Why not?
At least it has water. There's so much water that now the Aiel can stop fighting over water rights.
Yes.
Come and drink from the
Perfect.
dragon's fountain. Wet your whistle.
On that note, thanks everybody for listening. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks everybody for being here and drinking from the dragon's taint. We love you. We thank you for being here and tuning in and having a great time with us. What do you think about Rhuidean or Rhuidean or Rhuidean? I don't know how you say it. I don't care how you say it. You say it how you want to say it. That's what kind of podcast we are. What do you think about it? Leave your comments below. Thanks so much for tuning in. And from all of us here at the Black Tower, I've been Josh, your Sorvon Mahale.
And I've been Andrew, your Bison Mahale. And we look forward to seeing all of you at the Gathering Madness. And if you can't be there in person, there are virtual options. Make sure you check that out. And that will be unique to those who buy the virtual tickets. But
It's true.
thanks for tuning in.